What's up, everybody? This is Jess. Thanks for tuning in. This is the long awaited tea you've been waiting for ever since Generation 2 of Adulting ended on Saturday. This is my end of the generation reflections. And I told you guys I was going to do a video, but quite frankly, I just can't be bothered with the lights, camera, and action right now. I don't have a lot of time, and plus it takes a while, and doing a fake podcast, if you will, is just a lot easier and would allow me to get this out to you faster. So let me know how you guys like this format, because, maybe if I like it and you like it, I can add this to the rotation and, occasionally do a little extra. So, just drop me a note in the comments after, and, let's see how this goes. So what I'm going to do is I have consolidated all the points I wanted to make into 5 fun facts and then 2 thoughts, because I had a lot to say, and I recorded this twice before. Each were, I'm not even going to tell you how long they were. So hopefully this method will be a lot shorter. This is going to be less reflections and more behind the scenes information, because as I've been telling you the whole time, there's so much going on behind the scenes. So I just want to explain a few things so that you can understand what's happened, why, and how I arrived at certain conclusions. Okay? So get your snacks and sip on a cup of tea with me, because, y'all, the spillage is going to be hot. Let's go. In the beginning, there was Emerald Kiera Pope. She was born into a world that had a baby shortage. I'm so not even kidding. I don't know what I did, but some kind of way my MC Commander settings were set up in a way that drastically reduced the number of births in the world. I don't know how long it's been that way, but because this save goes by so fast, the Pearson save is much slower, so I didn't even notice it in that save. But there weren't very many children in the world. And when my Sims have babies, I like to know who their friends and potential lovers might be. So I always go into the world and check out the child situation, and there weren't that many kids. I don't remember who was born first, whether Emmy is older or whatever, but by the time she became a child, we had Dwayne, Lucy, who is the child of Gavin Richards and Crazy Cat Lady in Brindleton Bay, Katarina Lynx, Nyla, her now neighbor, who is the child of Eva Capriosa, and I don't even know if that's how you pronounce her name, but that's how I say it in my head. Eva Capriosa and Don Lothario. Candy Bear had a child. There's a teal-haired man running around my world. Some Villarreal kid had a child. I don't even know who they are. Gavin and Penny had a child. And also, of course, Eric and Alice Lewis, that guy that Emmy just did not like at all. So that's like, 6, 7 kids? I mean, now that I look at it, it's a pretty good number. But like I said, I don't remember who was born first and who was there. So some of these kids might be kind of young and came a lot later. But whatever the case is, I was not satisfied with the number of children in the world. And so I created and moved in some families into the world. And that's where Diamond, Devante, Dwayne, Lauren, Gemma, and her twin Trevor, and Jerron came from. That was kind of a fun fact, but not my official first fun fact. My first fun fact is Devante was Emmy's first attractiveness alert. For those of you who don't play with Wicked or Wonderful Whims, there is an attraction system in those mods, and basically it's a really good way for you to tell who your Sims are attracted to and who are attracted to them. And when they are extremely attracted to someone, which is the highest level, a pop-up will show, and it's basically them just freaking out and gushing. It's like, oh my God, I just saw this beautiful Sim and they were so breathtaking, and oh, I can't breathe. I mean, it's literally like that. They are literally freaking out over this beautiful Sim they just saw. So Devante was the first one. So, I was fine with that. He was never going to be the one, though. He wasn't a good Sim, I don't remember what his traits were, but at the time I remember saying, nope, not my baby. Because I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I know it happens to a handful of you. So like whenever my Sims have one child, it's almost like that child becomes my child because of course I'm playing the parent and the parent has to take care of them. So, I'm basically raising the child. So Emmy was the only one and Amina was so obsessed with her. So I was obsessed with her too. And when she aged up and moved out, I was very protective of her. I didn't want any big bad wolves corrupting her, I wanted her life to be happy and whole and fulfilling and satisfying. And, I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. I eventually got over that, but it took a while. And Devante was not the kind of person I wanted her to be with. Plus, I didn't want her to get with the first crush anyway. That's just I have that going on already in my other story. Devante was never going to be the one. She could play with him, but that's it. Fun fact number 2. Laurent was originally endgame. Of course, until Diamond got herself pregnant. You guys. I was devastated because Laurent was almost perfect for her. Like their aspirations were aligned. He has the big happy aspiration and she has the super parent aspiration. So at least when it comes to children, they would be on the same page, which of course is very important to both of them. They vibed well. They had good energy. They were legit best friends. They were everything you want your Sims to be when you're looking at who they're going to get engaged to. And plus their kids were cute. Of course, all Emmy's kids are going to be cute with whoever she gets with, but they were really cute. But we all know how that ended. I was quite devastated. Fun fact number 3. Dwayne actually missed his opportunity to even be considered for Endgame. So at the beginning of Emmy's young adult life, he wasn't around a lot. I didn't really even know him. Of course I knew he existed, but I didn't know anything about Dwayne Pancakes. There was Laurent, there was Devante, and I was looking at a few of her other friends. And because, so what I wanted was for her to get married young. There's just something about her that says, this is a young mom. And if she were a human, I could see her being like 23 years old with 2 or 3 kids. That's just how I saw her. So I wanted her to find someone really quickly and get married and have these kids early. So that's why I was looking at who would be the one at that stage. And Dwayne was not in the running because he just wasn't there. Plus, honestly, I know this is going to disappoint one person. You know who you are. Dwayne isn't a very interesting character. His traits are neat, good, snob, and his aspiration is archaeology scholar. But because he's neat, he could never complete that aspiration because he's freaked out about getting his hands in the dirt. He totally flaked out when Emmy took him to the jungle for real. He left. True, those aren't bad traits, but I just didn't know how to make him interesting without being a jerk. I don't know. I just didn't know how to make him interesting. So yeah, Dwayne was never going to be in game until he was. Fun fact number 5. Emmy and Dwayne were not insanely attracted to each other, but they made it very clear they were interested in each other. So as far as the Wicked Whims attraction system goes, they were only attracted to each other. Not extremely, not very, just attracted, which is, pretty generic. But once Dwayne did start showing up in the world, they became very fast friends. And she always had friendly whims for him. And at a certain point, I can't even tell you when that was, those friendly whims turned into wicked whims. So, things happened and she decided to go on vacation. She took him with her and I let them play. She wanted to do stuff. So I was like, okay, Go ahead. Go ahead. You can play with him, but you can't be with him because, that was, of course, after Amina gave her that sage advice and said, why don't you get out of your comfort zone and go meet some new people? Leave these scrubs alone. But the thing about it is, those whims never, ever went away. Not even after she got married to Ali. And those texts I've been, putting pics of on top of the screenshots, he has always done that. I have saved so many text messages from him. I was going to paste them all when I did the video, but of course I'm not doing a video right now. But yeah, this guy is in constant communication with her. Now, true, all of them aren't racy. A lot of them are very friendly. Many of them are very encouraging. But yeah, Dwayne has always had her back. He's always encouraged her. He's been a legit best friend to her for forever. The first thought I want to tell you about is my thought process behind the affair and how I arrived at that conclusion. When I write stories, I like for my characters to evolve. I don't want them to stay the same. And even if they do stay the same because they're just not ambitious or they don't care or, they're just that far gone. If they don't change, by the end of the story, I at least want them to be just a little bit wiser. Like, yeah, they're going to keep making the same mistakes, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll make them less often, because they gained a little bit more wisdom. So that's why these characters always go on a journey, because we have to take them through things so we can experience what they're going through. So at the end of the story, when they are different, we understand why. Because, like a lot of times in stories, characters change just because the author says they change. And it's like, okay, if you say so, but I don't really believe that he's different, Those kinds of things, just like if you want it to be believable, you need to show it. But this isn't a writing workshop, so I'm going to leave that alone because I can talk all day about that. The question was, how do I get this character who is a spoiled brat, has had everything handed to her, has never heard no in her life, has never been reprimanded for anything, is selfish to the core? How do I get that person to grow up and accept responsibility for what she's done in her life and to people? Obviously, you kind of have to force it because she is not going to arrive at that conclusion on her own. But how do you do that? I thought about it for a long time, and I concluded that I needed to take away the one thing she's always wanted, at least for a little while, and that was the kids. I know how some of you think about Emmy and Allie's marriage and if she really did love him and all that. That's very speculative. But in the grand scheme of things, even though marriage was a goal, she always wanted to get married because she didn't want to have kids without a husband. That's just something that she wanted. Even though she wanted to be married, getting married wasn't the goal. Having children was the goal. She just needed a man to do that. Not saying she got married to Allie because she wanted kids. No, she loved Allie in her own shallow way. She wanted to be with him. She was enamored by him, but she was looking forward to having his brown-skinned, blue-eyed babies. The kids were what she always wanted. And so, it took me a while to figure out how I was going to do it, but that is how and on top of these whims, like I said, she got married and she still wanted to be with Dwayne. And at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to let her do it because I don't trust her in the room with him. I'm pretty sure she's going to take matters into her own hands because I always have autonomy on, at least when I'm doing gameplay. And this save is gameplay for me. So between her still wanting to be with Dwayne and me needing to take these kids away from her, that is how I decided to let the affair happen and allow them to divorce. Now, the divorce went through several evolutions. At first I was going to play with the idea of Allie staying in the house because he couldn't afford to move out. And then, maybe eventually down the line, they would get back together. But that wouldn't do anything because even though they wouldn't be married anymore, she would still have everything she wants. She would still have the kids. she wouldn't have Allie, but he'd still be in the house. So in her mind, she would still have him. So he needed to separate and leave and take the kids in order to force her to change. So that is how that happened. I have so much more to say about that, but I'm already at 20 minutes. And I have one more point to make, and I don't want this to be more than a half an hour. My final thought, and I really want to know what you guys think about this because it's kind of deep. This thought came from me having all the knowledge about all these characters and all the situations and all the drama now, looking over the course of this story. So knowing what I know now, looking back, this is what my conclusion is. Dwayne was always meant to be in game, but he was never meant to be her partner for life. That's deep, right? What do y'all think about that? So here's what I'm thinking about. Remember when Amina died, she had the affair. Allie was still at home because he was trying to find a place to live. So all her friends were coming by to express their condolences. Laurent came by, but Allie came home and she wasn't comfortable. And plus Allie was in a bad mood. And so she told Laurent, this isn't a good time, come back later. And remember, she stood outside the house on the sidewalk, just thinking about random stuff. And one thing she was thinking was, is this the way my life was always going to turn out? Like, no matter who I was with, was Dwayne always going to take me away from him? So she started thinking about what her and Laurent's life would have been like. And, she said pretty much what I said, like they would have had 50,000 kids and they would have been so happy because, they were best friends and they were on the same page and they just meshed well together and life would have been so beautiful. But Laurent has the tendency to get depressed because he has the gloomy trait. That is the reason why he kept flaking out on her toward the end of their friendship because he was just always in a mood. So, he's always depressed about something. And she said, what if his depression just got out of control? And, what if he changed? And, what if we, started to not be on the same page? Would I go to Dwayne as a friend, just trying to, get things off my chest and, just trying to de-stress, talk to Dwayne and maybe develop an emotional affair? What if that emotional affair turned into a physical affair? Is Dwayne always going to come between whoever I'm with? And that is a good question. And I think the answer is yes. I really think the answer is yes. But the reason why I think he was never meant to be her partner for life is because I cannot picture Dwayne with her at that age, like, when she was young and looking to be married and having kids. There is nothing about Dwayne that screams, I want children. I definitely can't see him with a herd of children. Maybe one, but a bunch of children? No, I just don't see him wanting that life. Even now, as they're approaching their golden years, I don't think he regrets not settling down. I don't think he regrets not having children. I just think he's fine being, he's not fine by himself because he wants to be with Emmy. But, I think he's fine as a single childless man. But Emmy would not go for that. Emmy wants these kids. It is a requirement for her. If she can't have children, that's a deal breaker. But of course, Dwayne would be the one. So, she's not going to divorce him because he won't have kids. So they'll have kids because Emmy always gets her way. So maybe things would have changed for them. Maybe they wouldn't be as happy as she thought they would be because, this is just not the life Dwayne wanted. I don't know what would have happened with them down the line. Honestly, maybe they would have gotten divorced, but I have no problems believing that later down the line, like now, they would find each other again and, kind of rekindle their relationship, talk, get back on the same page and realize, okay, yeah, we had those problems then, but, you're still the one for me. Allie was only meant to be in her life for a season. I didn't intentionally make him this sad, tragic character. I guess I indirectly did because I ruined his life. But when she met him, I didn't have these plans. But shortly after they started hanging out, I got these plans. So yeah, he's been doomed this whole time. Sorry, guy. But yeah, so Dwayne is good for her now. I remember someone making a comment saying she can do better than him. And you were 100% spot on. I do believe that Dwayne is not the best person for her. Allie was really good for her. Now, was she good for him? Probably not, because I think the best relationships enrich both people. And honestly, I think she took a lot more than she gave. He might beg to differ, but that's just my observation and my opinion on what I know about them. But he was good for her. He was more mature than her. She could be challenged by him and grow. I think he kind of mellowed her out just a little bit. Dwayne is essentially the same as her, which, in some cases that'll work in a relationship, but it's not my preference. And what do we really know about Dwayne? Like, for real, what do we know about Dwayne? We know he loves Emmy. We know he basically has OCD. He can't stop cleaning, but we don't know what he's like. And the only reason that we probably like him is because he's cute and he's funny sometimes, But what do we really know about him? I know that he described himself as a scrub long time ago. He's probably right. But yeah, Dwayne isn't necessarily the best partner she can pick. But as for her life situation right now, he's good for her. Why? What she needs right now is a lot of encouragement and someone to just, she needs someone who understands her, who will listen to her, who won't judge. She hasn't forgiven herself yet, so she carries around this guilt all the time. And her confidence is shot. She doesn't trust her own judgment anymore. And even though her life is on the upward trajectory and she's just doing the darn thing, kicking life in the teeth, but she struggles sometimes, because she's not brave enough to tell people she's even in a relationship, because she's still concerned about what people are going to think, because she's just that kind of person who is considerate of other people's feelings. That's why she wanted to hide the fact that she even cheated, because she knew it would destroy Allie, and she just didn't want to be the one to shoot him in the heart like that. But yeah, that is what I think. Dwayne was always going to be endgame, but he was never meant to be her partner for life. Tell me what you think about that. Send me an ask or drop me a comment. I would really, really love to know and start a conversation. I love the conversations y'all start in the comments. They are so enriching and enlightening. And I just love creating that kind of community with my stories. So thank you for that. And thank you for tuning in to this very long fake podcast. Actually, it's probably as long as a real podcast. But anyway, thanks for listening, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye.